Time is running out. Get taxes over and done with sooner than later. In this educational episode, I'm going to talk about how to complete a strategic rollout. Probably sooner than later. If you're watching this episode in the year 2023, I would start then and then do another one in 2024, 2025. Why? Because the Trump tax cuts of 2017 are set to expire in the year 2026. So stay with me. You're going to be blown away with some insights that I'm going to give you in this episode. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist, a tax minimization specialist, sort of helping people prepare for long-term goals like retirement so that they won't outlive their money. Most retirees will be in danger of outliving their money due to the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. And so I have spent a lot of my nearly 5 decades helping people to prepare for a retirement so they will not outlive their money by eliminating the big 3 dangers: taxes, inflation, and market volatility. When they begin to realize that if they've been saving very much money, they're not going to be in a lower tax bracket. And that was the premise that they've been socking away money in tax-deferred IRAs and 401ks. But they haven't thought about it until now. They've sort of painted themselves into a tax trap, is what I call it. So this is why when they begin to come and learn at our educational events, or maybe they read one of my books, and they hear about a strategic rollout, they go, what's a rollout? Well, it's not a rollover. A rollover, in my opinion, is going from the frying pan into the fire, so to speak. That's taking money in 401ks, rolling them over to IRAs, which most short-sighted, myopic advisors tell you to do. Roll it over to an IRA, postpone until you're age 72, and then take RMDs, required minimum distributions, if you don't need the money. I think that's the worst advice for most retirees. You're actually increasing the tax by spreading it out. I like to look at the big picture. So for years, I've been advising people to look at a strategic rollout. This is where you're getting your money out of those IRAs or 401ks. You're getting the taxes over and done with sooner than later. In today's lower tax rates, rather than thinking taxes in the future will be lower, most people are not in lower brackets. They don't have the deductions anymore they once had. And so Congress, because of irresponsible government spending and the printing of money, most people agree that taxes in the future will likely be higher. So you don't want to sit there and think, I'm going to keep postponing or procrastinating to some future perceived unknown advantage and then withdraw my money down the road when you probably will agree that taxes will likely be higher. That doesn't make sense. So I usually recommend that people start a strategic rollout, ideally 5 years before they retire. Now, if you're watching this and you're less than 5 years from retirement, or maybe you're already retired, it's not too late. The sooner you start, the better. But there are impending events that may motivate you to start getting money out of those IRAs or 401ks sooner than later. Let me give you an example right now. Donald Trump, when he became president in 2017, he passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, and that lowered tax brackets. And that is set to expire or sunset at the end of the year 2025. So if you're watching this episode and it's the year 2023, you've got 2023, 2024, 2025, where you could get taxes over and done with and reposition the net after-tax withdrawal out of your IRAs or 401ks into something tax-free from now on. And you could get away with paying only 22% or 24% in tax. Because at the current tax thresholds, as of the recording of this episode, I'm talking about the year 2023, a married couple filing a joint tax return has room up to nearly $400,000 of income to pay only 24% in tax. And that's not on all dollars retroactive back to $1. But see, at the end of 2025, that 24% tax rate is going to jump to 28%. Now, some people might say that's only 4% more. Yeah, right. But if you change from paying $24 on every $100 of taxable income to $28, that is another $4. $4 increase is actually a 16.66% increase in the amount of money that you will pay out in tax in the year 2026 versus 2025. So you may want to take advantage of getting money out of those IRAs or 401ks in a 22% bracket. Otherwise, that's going to jump to 25, or a 24% bracket, because that's going to jump to 28. But also, I've noticed that sometimes people, they get advice from their CPA. Well, this advisor you're talking to is going to force you into a higher tax bracket. Listen, think about it. If you were to take out a couple of $100,000 and pay 24%, and it moved you into that 24% bracket from a 22, yeah, that's 2% more. But if you wait around, you may be paying 4% more or higher. But there's another factor to consider. Maybe you can get money out and the tax is over and done with while your account values are less. See, that's why it would behoove you to pay taxes on an account value in your IRAs or 401ks of maybe $700,000 rather than waiting 2 or 3 or 4 years and it's grown to $1 million. And so that's why sometimes I ask, would you rather pay a lower tax rate on $700,000 or wait and pay a higher tax rate on $1 million? Hello? No. If you're worried about waiting for the market to rebound, why don't you ride the market back up tax-free? Why don't you get taxes over and done with sooner than later at a lower tax rate on lower account values? And then later on, you will not have to pay tax at higher rates on a higher amount of money. Ride the market back up, totally tax-free. People go, well, how do I look into doing that? Well, you need to check out with a tax strategist, and I point my students to a very small handful of tax strategists that I've trained that help you be able to understand how to perform a strategic rollout. I designed very sophisticated software that actually shows you the darkness of the night, so to speak. If you keep deferring until age 72 and then take RMDs throughout your life expectancy and your spouses, and then leave behind the remainder to your non-spousal heirs, and they have to pay tax on that within 10 years. People are flabbergasted when they see how much tax they will pay by stringing it out. And then I show them the brightness of the day if they will do a strategic rollout and get the taxes over and done with sooner than later. And they are shocked at how much they will save in tax by doing that. And then how much more their net spendable income will be in the tax-free portfolio. Now, the tax-free portfolio I would recommend would be a portfolio of maximum funded indexed universal life insurance contracts. These are the vehicles where I've been able to average rates of return since 1997 of 11.17%, netting 10.07. Now, sometimes people say, well, I've never seen an insurance contract do that. Well, then you haven't seen one structured correctly and funded properly. But see, if you're earning a net rate of 10%, your money doubles every 7.2 years based on the rule of 72. But it also means every $1 million that you have in a portfolio of IUL contracts, that can generate $100,000 a year, a 10% payout, without depleting principal. And we've had many people actually experience that with indexed insurance contracts. Now, those IUL policies have to be structured correctly and funded properly. And so if it is structured correctly and funded properly, it is now deemed a laser fund based upon my criteria. A laser fund is an acronym. Okay, laser means liquid asset, safely earning returns. And so this is where you can earn a rate of 11 and net 10. If you earn 9, you net 8. If you earn 16, you net 15. If you earn 25, you net 24 in any given year. And I'm talking about real rates of return that our clients have achieved with IUL. And so a laser fund is described in this book called the Laser Fund. So if this is intriguing you and you don't want to kick yourself for missing out on this opportunity, and you want to start a strategic rollout sooner than later, you need to learn about where to take that after-tax money and put it into a properly structured laser fund, and see some examples of strategic rollouts, and maybe read some stories of people who have saved $250,000, $500,000, over $1 million of unnecessary tax. We do this all the time. These stories are in this book. So I want to gift you a copy of this 300-page book. It retails for $20 on Amazon. This is not about me. This is about you. And so I want to gift you a copy. And so you can claim your free copy by going to laserfund, laserfund.com, or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I require a little bit of skin in the game. I'll cover the rest of that cost. I will pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you via priority mail. When you're in there, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, there's options there for audio and video. Check out our educational webinars that we hold on a regular basis. They're free. You can even plug in yourself for a free consultation and analysis with an IUL specialist at no cost or obligation. And they can show you how a strategic rollout may work for you in your particular set of circumstances. So claim your free copy of this 300-page book, study it, read the stories, and see if this makes sense for you. If you're over age 59 and a half, this should be a no-brainer. Get the taxes over and done with sooner than later. And if you're waiting for the market to rebound, don't make that mistake. Ride the market back up again tax-free.